The movie is here, Brie Larson. Come on down, Brie. Turn it on. A little button.
Hi.
That's much better. Brie was on our radio show, and she's terrific. Although you have a small bladder. I proved that. We talked about that.
I did have to stop the car on the way here to go to the bathroom.
Well, I really enjoyed the film. Tell people your background a little bit. You know, what you've done before, and then we'll talk about the movie.
Oh, I'm an actor.
And what movies have we seen you in? Where may have they seen you?
It doesn't matter. I was just in some comedies before, nothing that was like a lead. This was my first lead role.
Okay. Well, you're in every scene of this movie. So what was that
There's
like?
one that I'm not in.
Okay, but come on. Let's
Yeah.
You are the movie. Everybody's really good in the movie, but you're carrying. What is there a lot of pressure? Well, I mean, you're in it. I mean, you're in every scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I think it was something that I was afraid to do before, but I realize now that it just took the right material. It took a story and a script that came my way that I believe in so much, and I cared so much about the story being told honestly that I just had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Did you spend time in one of these homes to get to see how it really works and to meet some kids that have these kind of problems?
Yeah, I did.
How long did you do that for?
I don't think I'm really allowed to talk about how long I was there because it's technically not really legal, but I did get to have quite a bit of time, enough time that I had a very emotional and overwhelming and impactful experience by it. It very much informed who Grace is.
Mm-hmm. And the people, the actors in the film, do they all have a lot of experience to play the kids? Because they're all terrific.
They kind of vary in degree. Caitlin, who plays Jaden, is a very well-seasoned actor. She's fantastic. She's actually on a show called Last Man Standing, which is, I think, a sitcom. So
Right.
very talented in many different directions. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Keith, who plays Marcus. And that was his first. He had done one other thing, which was the short version of Short Term 12, where he played kind of a similar character, but not the same one. But most of the other kids, it was their first job.
What does Short Term 12 mean?
That's how you that's how you classify the type of the foster care facility. So short term means it's a short term facility versus long term. And then 12 is the level of care that the kids need. 14 is the highest. So these are pretty at-risk kids.
They're at-risk damaged kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Where did you shoot the movie and how long was the shoot?
We shot outside of Los Angeles, and it was a 20-day shoot.
That's fast.
It is fast.
Yeah. Now, how successful has the film been? It's been in film festivals, so tell people about that.
I don't want to.
Yeah, you have to. That's why you're here.
No,
You
you're
can blow
supposed
your
to
own
say
horn.
that. No, be like my parent and you talk about that stuff.
I'm
Like, don't
not
make
old
me
enough to be
do
your
it.
parent.
It
I'm
just
trying to be
seems
your
like I'm
grandfather.
self-centered. Like, well, we won this.
Well, that's okay. Hey, I came in third in the Fakakta Desert Salt
Okay,
Bowl.
well, I'm just telling you. These
Blow
first.
your horn a little bit.
I'm
Come
not
on.
going to blow my horn. I'm going to talk about the film and how great the film is doing. It's nothing to do with me.
How great is the film doing, despite the fact that you star in it?
Thank you. It's nothing to do with me being in the movie, but the film premiered at South by Southwest, and we won the Grand Jury Prize, which is, as far as I know, that's the one to get. I didn't really realize it at the time. I was just excited that we won anything, and then I found out we won quite a good one. We got a belt buckle. And then we also won the Audience Award, and since then we've kind of won the Audience Award at pretty much every film festival we've played at. I won an award. I won Best Actress at the Locarno Film Festival, which is Switzerland Film Festival, which
Did
is
you hear that? Best Actress, Best Actress.
means a lot because it's one of the most impactful experiences I've ever had in my life was playing the movie to Switzerland. And it was 3,000 people, and it's a combination. It had 3 sets of subtitles because they take everyone as they are, and was just amazing. So I was really appreciative that even a country that speaks every language except English, that they were able to appreciate the film.
Playing a character like Grace, is this the most serious character you've ever played?
No, not really. I mean, it depends on what you consider serious. I think you see, this is the most complicated character I've probably played that you see on the most screen time as a complicated character. But I've played characters that are a little more troubled.
Okay, because Grace has many layers, and you show that. When you're playing a character, when you go home at night after the shoot, does Grace stay with you, or do you throw the character off till the next day's shot?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't be Grace all the time. It should be too exhausting. So, and it's really important. It's as I get older too, I realize how you start to think about like, oh, it's kind of fun when you fall into a character and you become the person. You start dressing like the person, and then it hits a point where you're like, well, what happens when I have like kids? You can't just be like, oh, who's mom today? It just doesn't work that way. At some point, you have to like know who you are and be that person too.
So you know who you are, Brie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, but I think I do.
You're getting there.
Does anyone? Do you guys know who you are?
Does someone have a question for Brie about the film? Oh, come on. Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about the writer-director. This guy seems to know what he's doing. What was your experience with him? What did he have to share?
This gentleman wants to know, we all want to know about the writing and the direction, and the writer obviously knew these characters somehow.
The writer-director is Destin Daniel Cretton, who's brilliant. This was Grace's job was his first job out of college, and he was a line staff for 2 years. And he went to film school, and I hope I'm saying this all right. I'm sorry, Destin, if you watch this and you're like, Brie. He went to school in San Diego, and I think his short film was his thesis, which was Short Term 12, the short film. And the film went on to premiere at Sundance, and it ended up winning a jury prize there. And that's when he started realizing that the themes that he was kind of exploring through this foster care world were more universally understood than he realized, and that we weren't just dealing with, if you care about kids in a foster home, then you care about this. It's more human than that. And from there, he kind of started developing it into a feature. And the main character in the short film is a male. It kind of changed a little bit.
Who's the main character, and this is you, female?
Yeah, I'm a girl.
Yes. Who's got the next question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I work at a local high school, and I work very closely to our version of that home, but you did a great job at the emotional roller coasters that they go through in the kids. How did you get involved with the project?
How'd you get involved with the project? This gentleman works with children like this in a high school.
Oh, yeah.
The script was just sent to me, and it very much stuck out from the very beginning. Within a couple of pages, I just felt like it was the best script I had ever read, and I wanted to be part of it so terribly bad. And I felt completely underqualified because I was nobody. So I didn't think that I had a chance, and especially in the independent film world, I didn't have anything to go with. There's no reason for a bunch of people to put a bunch of money into me because I'm no one. So I did a bunch of research, and I applied to a bunch of volunteer homes. I was filming in Georgia at the time, and so I felt a little helpless, but applied to all of these places to try and work with kids in the area. And then when I met with Destin, I kind of talked to them about it and the things that I had learned, and he was just really excited about the fact that I cared enough about the subject to want to learn about it and really throw myself into it and be part of it and make a difference. And I didn't tell him that I got rejected from every volunteer job that I applied for, but but it didn't matter. It was the fact that I cared, and I still do. I cared about representing those people honestly. And if we're going to tell this story, I wanted them to be able to watch it and feel like it was true.
Yeah, Monday morning it's going to be required viewing. I'm going to tell my
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you have to audition? Or once you met with him, that was it?
No, we just did a Skype call. And then he told me very quickly that I got it. I think about 15 or 20 minutes into the Skype call, which it's never been that easy for me to get a job ever. So I was very confused and like tried to act cool, and I don't know if I succeeded in that, and then clicked off, and then just kind of like sat there staring at the screen going like, oh my God, is that true? Yeah, but I still didn't believe it. It took me a little bit to actually go like, oh, I actually did get it. You know, it's very difficult to be an actor. It's difficult to get a job. It's like trying to win the lottery over and over again. So it seems
now that you've seen the final product, do you have more confidence in yourself? Because you're not a nobody.
I think I'm still a nobody. I mean, I'm no different.
You're a nobody that's won awards. Yes.
Hi, I'm going to toot your horn a little bit. You get a 98, 99% Rotten Tomatoes fresh, which is incredible for any film. And there's a lot of buzz going all around that you might get some nominations when it comes Golden Globe time. So if that happens and you're in that room, who in that room are you going to say, wow, I just can't believe I'm in this room with?
Well, okay, should you get nominated for Golden Globe, and there's a good chance you may, who in the room with the Golden Globes you say, besides me, who will you say, I cannot believe I'm in the room?
You're going to be there when you sit at my table?
Well, I thought it'd be your date. Go ahead. Because once you do our radio show, what did I tell you? Your career's going to skyrocket.
You know, I don't know. It's tough for me to think about that because those are dreams. Those aren't real, are they? I don't know. It just seems like a strange thing. Even if that were to happen, which I can't imagine that it would, which I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Am I supposed to put that stuff in the universe? I'm supposed to say, yeah, that's what's going to happen. I really loved Gravity this year. So the Gravity table will be the one that I want to observe. This is the best. This is the best movie. It's like, you don't need to go to therapy. Just go see that movie.
Just remember, Pia Zadora got a Golden Globe.
She's like, who?
Boom, yeah, Pia. She got the greatest newcomer in Hollywood, and then she disappeared. Because her husband at the time bought her the award. Who's got a question? Meshulam Rickles bought her the award.
I gotta get
Yes,
a
sir.
husband real quick.
Well, if you saw what he looked like, forget it. Go ahead.
So what sort of combination of your insight and the direction and the writing went into your interactions with kids? How much of that was scripted? How much was that inspiration on your part?
How much was your interaction with the kids in the film on the page, on the script, and how much was just you doing what you wanted to do?
The whole thing is completely scripted. There isn't any improv in it, which I think is sometimes hard to believe because it feels so real, especially if those are the best kid performances I've ever seen. But Destin really encouraged me before we started shooting to take on the role of leader, just like how Grace is in control of the kids in the film, to do that off screen as well, and to position myself as someone that these kids can look up to, and that was a very easy thing that happened kind of naturally, just because I'm the oldest person that's an actor on set, and I'm in scenes with all of them, and it was great because it gave me this feeling that I was being observed, and I very much remember, because I started acting when I was really young, that I remember every person who talked down to me, and I remembered every person that talked to me like I was a real actor and gave me encouragement, and I wanted to be a good story for those kids. I didn't want to be the traumatizing event that I remember, and so I put all of my past experiences into it and made sure that I was, had my lines prepared and that I could give them everything, and talk to them like they were real working actors, which they are.
Did you shoot this sequentially? Because it just seemed to me to flow. No, you did it all back and forth.
Shoot everything out of order. Very complicated.
That really makes it much harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to. I think of it as like leaving to go on an international flight. And you know that the flight's coming, and like I just went to India recently, and you know that once you get to India, you have to just be prepared because there's nothing that's going to be the same or what you want when you get there. So you spend as much time as you can racking your brain and thinking about every possible scenario, preparing as best as possible, but you know when the flight is happening, and then the second you get on that plane, it's done, and you've got what you've got. And it's very similar with a movie. You're shooting weird hours, and things are required of you that normally wouldn't. You're not used to, you know, at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday you have to cry because this is the scene when XYZ has happened. It just is madness. But you try and understand the character as best as possible, that there are as few surprises that you're unprepared for as possible.
Good. Yes, sir.
Tell us what it was like working on the United States of Terror with writers who are able to make a comedy out of multiple personality disorder. That must have been an amazing experience working with Toni Collette and the writers and the rest of that cast. What was that like?
And what was the name of the film?
It's a show, United States of Terror.
Okay, what was it like working on that?
It was huge for me because I had just turned 18, I think, or maybe it was 19. But it was like my first real job. And Toni Collette was my hero. She was the person. I was homeschooled, and I would sit at home and finish my schoolwork to try and graduate so that I could work the full 12 hours of an adult. And I would watch her movies, and I was blown away by what a chameleon she was. And to have this opportunity to work so closely with her was a dream come true. And then she ended up being everything that I wanted her to be and more. She was just the most incredible person. So it was a kind of a life-changing experience for me. And things move really quick. You learn how to memorize really fast and trust your instincts and go into it really quick. And there's also new directors every week. And it was the first time that I really had to fight for a character. I had to say, no, you don't know. Like, I spend a lot of time with Kate Gregson. That was the character I played. And I know that she would do it like this. And it was great because I learned how to collaborate with new people constantly, and I learned how to speak up for the things that I believed in and not feel like I was some like puny little kid that just had to do what was told to me.
Sir Robin.
I love this movie, and your performance blew me away. When you were growing up, was there a moment that you realized for sure that you wanted to be an actor and knew that you could do it?
When you were growing up, was there that moment, that big moment that you decided, I have to be an actor, I can do it?
Yes, but I was so young that I don't have much memory of it. I was 6 years old, and I lived in Sacramento with my parents who were chiropractors, and they had a practice together. And my mom was doing the dishes, and I walked up to her and said, Mom, I know what my dharma is. I'm supposed to be an actor. And she was very confused by pretty much every word that I just said. And I was an extremely shy child, so it didn't make much sense. Didn't seem like it was something that I should have been interested in. And my mom was very concerned that I was going to be traumatized by it, but I realized that I was this very strange dichotomy of a person, that I wasn't so comfortable with like one-on-one things, or if a family friend came over for dinner, I'd hide in my room, but put me in front of 100 people and I'll do a tap dance and have a great time. It's weird.
You're also a singer and a songwriter, right? Did you start out that you wanted to be an actor that sings, or a singer that can act?
I wanted to be in musicals, so I wanted to do it all. So at a young age, I started doing every type of dance and singing and acting lessons and ice skating and drawing lessons and golf and basketball. I just wanted to do everything. I've always just wanted to do everything.
And you're doing everything.
But there's still more stuff I gotta do.
Okay. Who else has a question? Come on.
Back row.
Way back there.
What are you working on now?
What are you working on now?
I am preparing to do a film at the beginning of next year called The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg. Ooh, you like him, huh? Sounds like that's going to be something you might see. It's a great film. I'm really excited we're going to start working on it and talking about it on Monday, so I'm excited.
Can you tell us what your role is in the film?
Am I supposed to talk about that?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I can?
It's just between us folk.
All right. So the film is called The Gambler, and it's technically a remake, but it's nothing really like it. And Mark Wahlberg plays this extremely fascinating character who's this incredibly smart, incredibly handsome, and well-off individual. He comes from a family with money, and doesn't care about any of it, and is kind of constantly gambling his life and questioning what life is and why we even care about money in the first place. And so he kind of gets this weird gambling addiction, but it's an addiction to lose. He just wants to lose all of his money and kind of get back to the essence and get rid of everything. But in the process, he kind of loses money that's not his, and so he's got some bookies coming after him. And he also happens to be a teacher, and I play one of his students. And then you'll have to see the movie.
Are you his love interest?
You'll have to see the movie.
Who else has a question?
Back row.
Back row.
Getting back to this movie, thought your acting was fabulous, it was really good. The creators of this movie, did they have any real communication with probation officers and social workers that do this line of work?
Did you have probation officers and people that are in this field, counseling you or whatever?
Yeah, we had to be kind of hand in hand with certain foster care facilities in particular to allow me to go and shadow at a place. I had to go through certain sort of audition process, I guess, in order to get through, because these kids have been abused and have been through so much, and it takes a lot for them to feel comfortable and to feel trust, and so we had to make sure that that was going to be a good situation. But we were lucky that people, the kind of higher ups at these facilities, loved the script and appreciated what the film was representing, which was an honest representation, or as honest as we could try and make it. And they were very encouraging. And still, since the film has come out, we've been working with a lot of foster care facilities and trying to, in many different ways, bring awareness to this issue, kind of get people talking about a system that it doesn't work perfectly, and perhaps give the opportunity to those that are more well-versed on the subject to talk about it, and maybe even use this as a way to show that, of how it works and how it fails. It's been really exciting. It's been really inspiring to hear the stories from other line staff who have watched the film, and it brings them back, or those that are now out of these facilities that are able to talk about it. And it's great. It's not all the time that you get to be part of a film that really represents something honest to people.
Is it usual, your character, Grace, was obviously a damaged child. Is it usual for someone like that to become the person that works in one of these homes?
I don't think that it's across the board, but it's definitely something that's happening. It's a really hard job. Mm-hmm. And on top of it, it does not pay a lot of money. So there has to be a reason why you feel so strongly to fight every day, because it's really hard.
Anybody else have a question? Back there, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit about your educational background in studying to be an actress?
What's your educational background studying to be an actress?
It's just school of life. I don't know. I took acting lessons when I was very young. I took private lessons with a guy in Sacramento. And then I was the youngest person to be accepted into ACT in San Francisco, which is the Actors Conservatory Theater, but I'm not sure if I'm still the youngest. I feel like there's probably some genius 3-year-old who got in or something. And then after that, I just didn't really have the money to pay for it. And I would pay for someone to, on certain jobs, if I needed a British accent, if it was something really difficult or a world that I wasn't that sure of, I would pay to do kind of one-on-one classes specifically for certain auditions. And there was one acting coach that I just really adored, named John Homa. And I couldn't go to him very regularly because, like I said, I just didn't have the money for it. And I went to him for something. I think I was quite rusty, but I think he could tell that there was something there. And he just kind of railed on me. I was like, why don't you really take this seriously and go to class? It doesn't make any sense. And I just kind of cried to him and said, I can't. My parents can't afford it. I can't afford it. Like, I don't know what to do, but I can't. And he grabbed me and gave like one of the hardest and tightest hugs I've ever had. And he said, don't ever let money get in the way of this. Come and work for me, and in exchange, I'll work with you. And so I started working in his children's class, and I would be his assistant, and I would teach some of them. And it was great because I learned really quickly how to cold read with people. You start reading so many different things that you start to learn the repetition of there's a point to every scene, what's the point, let's get to it. And then at the end of the class, he would help me with whatever auditions I had, and he helped me with my audition for United States of Terra, and it changed my life.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
You said that you liked musicals. I was wondering, as growing up, what kind of musicals did you like? Did you have a particular star of musicals that you really adored or anything like that?
Musicals. What musicals growing up did you like, and what musical stars did you like? Say Barbra Streisand.
As a kid, when I was still in Sacramento, it was Les Mis and Cats were my favorite. Les Mis was my favorite. But it's very wrong for a 7-year-old to be singing, Master of the House. There's curse words in that. But I didn't care. I didn't even understand what I was singing. And then as I got older, I fell in love with Thoroughly Modern Millie and Sutton Foster in particular. And I just loved it. And I loved Wicked, and I can't remember what I've seen. Sleep No More is now kind of my favorite thing. It wasn't necessarily a musical, it's something different, but I love live theater. I love musicals.
Do you like them better on stage or on film?
I like both. It's like, I like plays and I like movies. I like concerts and I like CDs. It's just, there's something so incredible about watching a play. Like I saw when Maggie Gyllenhaal and Jessica Hecht, they did Three Sisters. And I remember seeing it was just like mind-blowing. And I went with my girlfriend, who we both went together, and afterwards we went and got dinner, and we both were crying over, this adaptation, this version of this Chekhov play, and just sobbing about it, and felt so moved. And then I started thinking, God, this has been going on for months now, and I'm sure there's some people that are like, oh, it wasn't good, because they watched it on a different night. Like, there's nobody who knows what I've experienced, because I don't know anybody else who was in the theater with me at that time. And there's something really incredible about that, about knowing that you're seeing something that is happening one time. It's just lightning in a bottle, and then it's gone. It's not recorded, and you'll never see it again.
Have you done theater?
Uh-huh.
As an adult?
Yeah, I played Emily in Our Town at the Williamstown Theater Festival.
So one day would you like to be on Broadway?
Yeah, if they'll have me. Yeah,
They'll
I
have
don't think
you,
that's
no.
my decision, but yeah, totally.
We'll all write a letter. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Yes.
After you see your performance, and you see it after it's been all put together, are you critical about your performance?
Are you critical about your own performance after you've seen it a few times?
Yeah, of course. It takes me a couple of times to really be able to see it. And now I don't, to be honest, I've watched the movie so many times, I love it, but I don't see myself in it at all. I don't even recognize that face. But it took me a couple of times, and it was a strange experience for people to feel so moved by a performance that you're kind of going like, I don't know why people think it's good. I don't think it's that good.
Is it hard at first to watch yourself?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's really horrible. You just like, my first thought when I watched Return 12 was like, that's what I look like? That's not what I look like. And then I was like, that's the back of my head? That's not what the back of my head looks like. That was the thing that was fascinating, is I felt like I had this weird luxury that most humans never get, which I got to see what I look like when I'm sleeping. I got to see what I look like when I'm like running from the back of my head. I've never seen that before.
You're a fast runner. You outrun the men.
I'm pretty good.
Every time.
It's pretty good.
Anybody else? When we leave here tonight, we all enjoyed the movie. Is there one, if somebody calls me tonight and they say, what was short term, what did you get out of it? What do I tell them? What do you want people to go away with?
For you to say. I think that the most incredible part of this movie is I think everybody kind of has a different feeling or interpretation as to what the movie means to them, and I encourage you to really explore why the movie moved you tonight if it did. But the thing that I've found as I've been taking this movie and have had the pleasure of taking it to even the other side of the world is that we all just kind of shared an experience together. And I think the movie is a testament to, you know, we try, our parents really try. Some of our parents tried harder than others, but and sometimes before we're ready, we become adults. And then it's all of our jobs as a community of human beings to really love and encourage and talk to each other and try and put our best foot forward with everyone. And I hope you feel at least a little bit connected to these people and remember that we're all human and we're figuring some stuff out. And yeah, I encourage you to love one another. That's all.
That's great. And one more question, and then I'll let you go. Going from this movie, an independent movie, and now you're going to start work on The Gambler and Mark Wahlberg, I'm sure it's a much bigger budget. Do you prepare differently? Is it going to be a whole different experience?
No, I still just prepare way too much. Just over-prepare. I just love it. I mean, I really love my job, and I love people, and I'm fascinated by when I'm given a task. Once I'm given a task of a character that I'm interested in,
You jump in.
and I see it everywhere. You know, I see it in the clouds, and I see it in the person that's waiting in line in front of me at the grocery store. Everything around me starts to feel like signs, and I piece it all together, and I don't take jobs unless I'm incredibly inspired by them, and it's a story that I feel is important for people to watch. Yeah, so it doesn't change.
Does it annoy you if you work with somebody that's not prepared? Because there are people that don't prepare the way you do.
Yeah, but it goes with it. You know, it's only frustrating if you feel like it's affecting your performance, but there's always a way to fix it and to go around it. And you just go, I won't do that when I'm in charge.
Well, I think we all want to thank you. We all love the movie. We think
Thank
you were
you.
great.